especially when writing APIs, you may find yourself in situations where you want to limit the number of requests a user or IP address is allowed to make. This is pretty standard practice. And in Laravel 5.2, this is a cinch now. For example, I'm going to switch to my routes file. Let's imagine you're building the next Twitter or something. Okay, well, you want to offer an API to search your service. However, if you don't limit the number of requests a user is allowed to make, well, yeah, that can be pretty dangerous, right? Because if they're not careful and they're not caching things properly or limiting the number of requests they make, they could just hit your server over and over and over and over. And then if you compound this with all the people making requests to your server, yeah, this can be kind of dangerous. So instead, most APIs will implement a limiter for these exact reasons. So let's experiment. Let's say if you visit the home page, I'm just going to return some page. And remember, with Laravel, this will automatically be cast to JSON. So if I boot up a server and view this in the browser, yeah, exactly what we expect. Pretty boring stuff. Now, alternatively, if you want to test this from the command line, well, yeah, you can use curl, but I prefer to use something called httpy. You can do if you have Homebrew installed. If not, you definitely want to pull that in. Brew install httpy, and now you can use a much more natural approach to test these things. For example, I can say HTTP make a GET request to this endpoint. And there you go. We get a 200 status, and here is the JSON payload. Okay, but now if we switch back, well, let's say we have like API/search/a term, okay? And we're not really going to build this, but we'll just say return results for the term. And in fact, let's just keep it simple and do it like that. All right, so we make a GET request to API search dogs, and yeah, we get the results. But now I want to limit it so that you can only make X number of requests per minute, let's say. Okay, well, we just need to add a middleware. Let me demonstrate that, and then we'll dig in to see how it works. Now, as you know, you can either do things like this, where you say middleware, or you can also do chaining like this. Middleware, and we're going to throttle. Now, we can pass arguments to this, or we can stick with the defaults. Now, in this case, what we're saying is we want to throttle the number of requests made by this IP address to this endpoint, and we will limit it to, again, by default, 60 requests per minute. Now, if you want to change that, you could do something like this, 30. Now it's 30 requests per minute. Or if we say 5, that means you can make 30 requests in 5 minutes. Now, in our case, though, I do want to demonstrate this, so I will decrease it to 3, and we'll stick with the default decay, which is 1 minute. All right, let's try it out. So we will hit this. 1, do it again. 2, do it again. 3, and now do pay attention to the headers here. Rate limit remaining 0. So that means if I make one more request, nope, too many attempts. It doesn't even perform. Remember, in real life, this is some kind of database query. But yeah, we wouldn't even get to that point. Instead, the middleware is going to detect, oh, yeah, you made too many requests here. So instead of actually triggering this callback here, I'm going to return a response. And if you're curious, that's a 429. That's a standard status code for too many requests. Now, what I'll do here, just to prove to you that it works, is I'm going to sit around for about a minute. I'll pause the video for a minute, and then we'll make another request to see that, yes, we can now make new requests. Okay, so I paused. If we now make a new request, we've waited for the timeout, and we now can make requests once again to our server and subsequently perform database queries. Now, once again, take a note at these headers. So I'm going to do another one. Now we've made 2 requests, so we have 1 remaining. If I do another one, we have 0 remaining, and we've hit our rate limit. So that means if we do any more before the decay, which is about 1 minute, yeah, we hit that, so we return a response. Okay, so let's review how exactly does this work? What's going on behind the scenes? All right, we'll take a look at this. We're going to go up to our app directory, into HTTP, middleware. Here's where all of your default middleware are stored. However, you're not going to see anything related to a rate limiter. This will be through the vendor directory. So instead, if I go down to kernel, where we register everything, yeah, take a look at our route middleware. We have this new one in Laravel 5.2 called throttle, and that will point to a throttle requests middleware. Okay, so that means you can apply this to any route to any